Weather front summary. A front is the boundary between two air masses. In the United States, these fronts generally move from west to east because the Earth's rotation is counterclockwise. Remember the Coriolis effect. The symbols below represent the different types of fronts. Look at the teeth of the symbols. The symbol points in the direction that the front is moving. So when we look at them on a map, whatever direction those quote-unquote teeth are pointing, that's the direction of motion. Let's start with a cold front. So a cold front is generally when you have a cold air mass trying to take over or push out a warm air mass. When the front is first passing through, you're generally going to get some thunderstorms or some sort of rain. This might be a more violent storm than just a gentle rain. After the front goes through, the rain goes away, the clouds clear up, becomes a very clear sky, the air becomes drier, less humid, and your temperatures decrease. Now looking at the symbol, these are the teeth. So the blue teeth point in the direction of motion, so we tend to think of them more like icicles. A warm front, on the other hand, is when a warm air mass rides over the top of a cold air mass. When that warm front pushes through, you see a lot of clouds coming in. You tend to get a steady rain. Once the front has moved on, behind the front, we tend to have very humid air. It's still very cloudy. The air is warmer, so our temperature is decreasing. Now, if we look at our symbols here, so the teeth of this, I always think of them as being little suns, so using a sun to represent a warm front. Again, they're going to point in the direction of motion. A stationary front is when you have two air masses that basically collide with each other and nobody wins. Think of two people fighting, but there's no movement. When this happens, it stays in place. That's why it's called a stationary front. It'll stay there for several days, possibly without moving. These are the days when it gets really cloudy. You get fog developing outside. There's usually like a drizzle or a mist, a light precipitation taking place, and it stays there until one of the fronts breaks free and moves on. So now looking at a weather map, if we look at the bottom here, the map has H's and L's to represent areas of high pressure and areas of low pressure, and then you have different fronts. So I'm looking at the warm front and the cold front. So this warm front right here is just on the edge of Texas, so it's just moved out of Texas. You see the direction the teeth are pointing, so it is moving in this direction. It's kind of a northeasterly direction as it moves out of Texas. So after it's passed through, Texas would be experiencing higher temperatures. The cold front I'm looking at right here is about to go through Florida, so it's moving in this direction, kind of a southeasterly direction. Before the front gets there, the temperatures will be warmer. After the front, the temperatures will be cooler. When the front gets there, you might get some thunderstorms. You see these white lines on here. The white lines are called isobars. The isobars represent different amounts of air pressure. Anywhere that you see the lines close together, so if we look out here towards the Atlantic, these lines are very close together. That indicates high wind speeds. But if you look in here, these lines are far apart. That represents low wind speeds. So the isobars represent different air pressures, and the difference in them indicate the different amount of wind speeds. You're going to use this information when you complete the weather map analysis paper.